Young Shiny. Young Shy Beats. Young Shy Beats.
Yep.
What's going on, family? Y'all know where we are. Back and we got two of the track titles for his album. We're gonna set them next to head to head, man. We're gonna talk about it. Wait, give me a second. Yeah, family, we are back at Illinois Motors, of course, again with my brother, T-Bro.
Hello.
In the business.
Hello. Hello.
What is that?
What is what? My hellos?
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Hello. That was mildly spectrumist.
I'm definitely on the spectrum. For sure. Absolutely a fact. We got Kendrick versus Drake here.
Man.
But you know what? That's a bad comparison.
Like
That's a bad
cool.
comparison because
Yeah.
unlike the Kendrick and Drake situation, there's a clear winner in that.
Yeah.
Not so much with these
Not
two.
so much here.
Yeah.
Not so much here.
Yeah.
And honestly, when you think about it,
Kendrick won. Sorry. Go ahead. Continue. Yeah.
I give Kendrick the win.
Yeah.
So, to the point, man, right? So we got these two guys, right? Back in the day, there was a third that contended with these guys.
Yeah. 2000 to 2002 Viper ACR. I think it's 02. I don't know if they made them in 2000. They might have.
I know it was early 2000s
Losing my memory
ACR,
on that one.
Right?
Yeah.
Early 2000s ACR.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. So is that the silent guy? What guy there who kind of fell back out of the beef?
Oh, J. Cole? Yeah. The Gen 2 ACR is definitely the fallback, especially considering that was the third place choice in the Motor Week video.
Yes.
So that makes perfect sense for us to be reviewing the two that really matter the most.
That's the fallback. That's the fallback.
And it's really just a cover for we don't have that in inventory right now. So we're doing the best with what we got. And this is technically not a small price to pay to, be sitting out the Viper. When you have these two cars here, it's pretty hard to get these two together, mainly because one is like mythical. Mythical.
Absolutely mythical.
Yeah. Expensive.
One is just very expensive.
Yeah.
And one is just not commonly found all the time.
Yeah.
Especially, let's say not commonly found everywhere. We got to say specifically this car with the miles. It's not common.
No, not at all.
Sheesh.
Not at all. So, you know what we're looking at, right?
Yeah.
The two cars.
Yes.
We have a 2000 Mustang SVT Cobra R, mythical god tier status. This is really, it's kind of crazy how underpriced these went for a long time. and then they just kind of exploded. Really no rhyme or reason. You could argue COVID market, COVID, PPP loans, crypto, something. All of the above. Right.
All of the above.
And then we have the C5 Z06, and this just so happens to be an 04, and it just so happens to be a commemorative edition. So other than the vinyl and Le Mans blue exterior, these have one unique difference from all the other C5 Z06s. It's the carbon fiber hood.
Oh.
These have a carbon fiber hood. This is just a decal showing off that that the hood's made out of carbon fiber. This is not an exposed strip.
Got it.
But it does say in this inlay here, carbon fiber.
Excellent.
As a little bit of a flex.
If you look at the light, the reflection, you can see the weave pattern in the reflection of the light.
I'm gonna trust your eyes in this one
Yeah,
because
see
I'm
it. You can see the weave pattern.
nice.
That's actually kind of cool.
And there are some handprints in this because I was trying to close this hood, and yeah, we just kind of went there. But
Yes, sir.
so interestingly enough, these never, from the start, didn't have 405 horsepower. Most
Right.
people don't know that. They had 385.
Yeah, they actually graduate every year,
So
every generation.
I think it took them 2 years to get to 405. I think it was 385 for 01 and 02, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I could be wrong.
Yes.
But I'm pretty sure 03, 04 are the 405 horsepower years. One of the criticisms of this car is almost all of those Z06s have a much more unique engine, but the LS6 is still a pretty unique engine because it's like a factory upgraded version of an LS1.
Correct.
Same displacement, 5.7 liters, but it's got some internal work done from the factory improvements, and this motor actually carried its way over to the first gen CTSV.
Yep.
It's just like, well, actually not just like later generations, but still, that was where the main power jump was from. And here's the thing, on paper it doesn't sound like much because you're talking 345 horsepower in the base car to 405, and especially less impressive when it's 345 to 385, but it's the rest of the car that matters.
Yeah.
Suspension, magnesium
Yes.
wheels, and probably one of the more interesting things, factory titanium exhaust. Lightweight.
Did I know that? I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, factory.
I don't think I knew that.
Pretty cool stuff. It's funny because my friend has a commemorative edition, and
Yes, he does.
he took off the magnesium wheels and took off the titanium exhaust. So it's like,
I know
what are you
exactly
doing,
what
Jake?
you're talking about. I know exactly who
But we all give each other shit, so yeah.
from Jake's car. I had no idea that it had titanium exhaust.
Yes.
I had no
So
idea.
they have like a little bit of a gold look to them when they have some heat,
Yeah.
And so here's the real thing with commemorative edition, because it's not just a sticker pack. You do get the updated badging with commemorative 24 hours Du Mans 2 GTS wins. So that's a celebration for the American Le Mans Series victories. And I believe the success of the 24 hours of Le Mans for the C5R, I think, right? Because it's 24 hour, I think.
I think that is.
I don't think American Racing Series has a 24 hour.
No, it doesn't.
So I'm pretty sure this is a
Le Mans.
commemoration for the C5R victory.
Yeah. Not only that, but the badging is raised. It's different.
Yeah,
All the other badges are flatter.
right. So that's kind of a crash course. All commemorative editions came in Le Mans blue, because of course. It's just a perfect tie-in for the 24-hour Le Mans victory, right?
Yep.
And all Z06s are 6-speed manual, and these cars are fucking amazing. They drive so good. It's kind of,
reasons, man, and I thought that
Yeah.
this is one of the ones I will collect.
yeah. It's shocking, like, how much of a difference these drive from base C5. Because you look at them on paper,
Yeah.
and the power's kind of close,
Yeah.
and you're like, is it
Yeah.
really worth it? Kind of
It
is.
is.
It's a world of a difference.
This car is impressive, man.
The
and
suspension work is what changes the game, too.
I was in New Orleans East, and we hanging out, and it's like, hey man, you want to take it out? Give me the keys. I'm like, I'll be back. And it was nice.
Yeah, and
I was
was
impressed.
that just a regular C5?
It was a 06.
It was a Z06.
was a
So you have driven a C5 Z06.
I've
Okay.
drove
Okay.
a C506, the C6 Z06.
You haven't driven a C7 Z06, right?
Not yet. I'm working on that. So the only one I haven't really put my hands on was the C8. That's the one. But, we got some. But I've driven the 3, and it's one of the main reasons why I want to collect the 3. I would
Yeah.
love to collect all 3, those 5, 6, and 7
Yeah.
as my collectors. Because I've driven them, and I know what they feel like,
Mm-hmm.
and they were fun.
Yeah.
And quite impressively, to me, I didn't think that the 5 was that far off from the 6.
It's a really transformative car. Like all those little changes add up to a huge difference on the paper. If anyone's a fan of exotic cars in the YouTube, community, in your community, DB9 to DBS.
Yes.
On paper doesn't seem like a lot. Just
away.
mountains of differences in the way that they drive and the way they communicate.
Yeah.
And this is a great example of that. And interestingly enough, I wanted to look up the prices of these when they were new. As a little context for this video, because I think if we're comparing, we have to compare prices, right?
Prices are important.
So let me just bring up what I found for the commemorative edition, because this is a commemorative. Base price was $50,000 in 2004. So you can subtract a couple grand probably for like a 2001 or 2002,
Right.
they were probably considerably
bit less,
cheaper.
yes.
But price as tested was $56,700. So there was an average of about a 6 to 7 grand markup on these when they were new in dealer lots. And that was tall money in 2004.
I wasn't even looking at
Huge.
these things realistically for myself.
Yeah.
Because I thought they were out of my reach.
Yeah, when
I
they were
thought they
new
were completely
especially.
out of my reach.
But here's the crazy thing. Getting one of these with miles, you can get them for under 30.
Yeah.
This is not one of those examples because this has 7,000 miles on it. That's it. It's really hard to find a commemorative edition with this kind of miles on it. And there's a lot of low mile C506s for sure, but commemorative editions, a little bit of a different ball game.
Yeah, that changes things.
Yeah. It's the most specialist one, right?
Yeah, I like
So
that. Specialist.
it's the mostest
mostest
specialist
specialist.
one. And in the Corvette sphere for C5s. And it also doesn't help that these depreciated so bad when they were new. They depreciated very fast because it's a Corvette. Yeah. It's a seasonal sports car. So every year there's a new version or a new update or a new color.
Matter of fact, when 7 came out, this thing went all the way down.
Oh,
Like, it
dude,
went so far
yeah.
down.
See, I remember you could get a clean C506 for around 20 grand with like 40,000 miles.
Yeah, I
on
remember
it.
that.
That was,
It's no different than the 7 before the market shift.
yeah.
7s, you can find 7s in 40s.
You can actually find some Z06s around that range. They'll have a little bit more miles, but the problem is too, you'll only exclusively be looking at 01 and 02, basically.
No, I was
But,
C7.
oh, C7, well, yeah.
no,
But yeah,
no,
C7s did tank for sure.
Yeah.
They did pop up hard, but
Hard.
yeah, so that's because they're fantastic cars. They're really good value. So, but yeah, I mean, just check out the
Stay in
interiors.
focus.
7,000 miles.
But to your point, there's no reason for us to talk about anything but this thing because honestly,
It's so mint.
it's so nice. Like when I say super clean and comfortable, it smells new.
Yeah, it smells like brand new leather in there.
Smells new.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Absolutely nuts. It blows my mind.
Seats are in great shape, no wear on the shifter at all. The steering wheel's perfect. Like, it's perfect. Other than my handprints on the hood, this is perfect.
I know. She's absolutely awesome. Just saying, guys. This is super nice, man. Listen, guys. This is one to have. I'm gonna be honest with you. Although it's commemorative, and unfortunately, you know, a lot of people that put their hands on these, they want to hold on and keep them like that. I would love to see somebody grab this thing and drive the crap out of it and just enjoy the car. I'm just saying, because it's worth being driven. You will not be disappointed. It's absolutely worth being driven.
Would you be surprised to learn that this is only 42.8.
That's
not a bad deal considering
That's
it's
a phenomenal deal.
for 7,900 miles.
That's
and
a phenomenal deal.
being the top of the line Z06 for the
Think
time.
about what the ZR1 costs.
Yeah.
With this amount of miles.
Yeah.
In the same year.
Yeah.
I mean, not same year, same generation.
ZR1.
So I'm thinking next generation. I'm sorry.
Swallow, you're off your game today.
Heat.
It's the heat. It's the heat.
Good Lord, what I'm thinking about, man. I'm all over the place, guys. I'm
Illinois-
bouncing around from generation to generation. Right
It's also hot in here, but Illinois Motors does bring the heat. So that doesn't help you at all. So,
Just saying.
so anyways,
Just saying.
the pros for these are just exceedingly high. I think we'll compare and contrast once we go through that guy over there. But still, even at that price point that we're asking now, and even at that price point back then, the value for the money, the handling, the steering, the reactivity for a really connected car, for a car that's like supercar punching in terms of track day performance too, these were tracked constantly, often, very often. Z06, I mean, this car came out in the wake of a total jump in a trend of track days in America
It literally
and road
went after
and
the
road courses.
Italians.
Yeah.
They went after the Italians.
Yeah. And they're bringing relatively the same power for considerably less money than the Italians.
Absolutely.
And Corvette's always done that. But
And they performed. This car performed against the Ferrari.
360, yeah, definitely. I'm pretty sure this would mop up a 360 on a road course. For
It
sure.
did its thing, man. And it's one of the things that as a kid, when I started following and really paying attention to Corvette was standing on his own against
Big cars.
big cars.
Big
that
names.
Just seemed, for me, this seemed unattainable because I just wasn't in that mindset that it was realistic for me.
And also, you didn't have a crystal ball that they would be worth
Oh my God.
a quarter of what they were new
you imagine?
in a decade and a half. So,
To have had that, at least that thought, that process, it would have been another thing. Not only I had a different mentality back then. I had a mentality that my grandfather, you buy cars, you don't finance them, right? It was a different way he thought. So that left me in a whole different market for cars,
hey,
buying cars.
the credit system is predatory. However, you can use it to your advantage.
Definitely can.
Yeah. So
Definitely can.
it's definitely a valid thing. I think he's just trying to protect you.
Yeah.
So I think he meant well.
Yeah, yeah. And, that's also guys,
I'm really good at closing this hood, as you can tell.
But you're talking to a guy who had, the longshoreman, who had junior high education maybe, who I think less than that. No, I'm giving my grandfather way too much because I remember him not knowing how to sign his name.
Wow. That's
So,
crazy.
But he was one of these people that I didn't trust a lot because everything he made, he earned, he built his house, he did what he had to do to survive. Country boy, it's just one of those things. Different kind of story, but there's another kind of story that comes with this car. It's that car.
Yeah. So I've been definitely itching to get to this and for us to do a video on this since it's been in here.
Yes.
This is not for sale. This is owned by one of the owners of this business, and I know cash talks, and I'm sure there is some magical number that would get this thing to sell, but it's not listed on the website. It's not officially for sale. It would have to be a really competitive number for him to probably sell this car. This is a 2000 SVT Cobra R. This is a transformative generation of Mustang, just like this generation of Corvette. These generations really changed the cars, And especially the SN95s, they got so much crap when they came out because they kept the old Windsor motor in them for a few years. And then Ford was like, we're coming out with an all-new V8. And it turns out it was a 2-valve, single overhead cam, 4.6 V8 that made, like, on a good day, a breath over 195 horsepower. So that always upset people. And then there was also the stopgap Cobras, the SVT Cobras, and the 96 and up. Those had a 4-cam, 32-valve version of that engine, and they were pretty good. Issues became apparent when it got to 1999 to 2001. I have been bullied about this on the internet, so I'm hoping I'm getting the information right this time. Those years, those cars were not making the power that they were advertised. And people actually were suing Ford over, there was a class action lawsuit because people were putting them on the dyno and they were not making the calculation to the crank what they were advertising. So, which I believe was 305 horsepower. And I believe they were only dynoing at the crank 290, 285.
Wow.
And it could have been because of emissions. They had to get in, because when the new Edge came out, they had to get new emissions. So
that's right.
this car comes out in the shadow of the Terminator Cobra, which was the answer to the criticism of the low horsepower. That was a supercharged 390 horsepower, 4.6 liter, 4-valve engine with Manley rods and pistons. Just crazy engine, right? Crazy potential for, in my opinion, it's the original Hellcat, right?
Yeah.
But this,
I said it in 3.
right, and that came out in 03 and 04. This came out in 2000, and let me tell you why this is so important to understand. I'm gonna really just do the honors. This is what makes this story so impressive to me. Is remember the power I said on the Terminator is around 390 horsepower, and the reason why it was so important that that car was a success is because it made considerably more than they advertised. They were making it like 400 to 415 wheel horsepower. So they were making like 100 more than they were advertising. If like 80 to 100 more, if you do the calculations from crank to wheel, right? So this doesn't have a supercharger.
Naturally aspirated.
It is a 4-valve, 4-cam, 5.4 liter, big, it's like the biggest mod motor that existed, V8, that makes 385 horsepower and 380 torque. And this is where the story gets interesting. Do you know what these dyno at the wheels?
No, I do not.
400 wheel horsepower. And this is on motor.
So it dynoed, they advertised at 380.
Like 385.
And they dynoed over 400.
They dynoed around 390 to 400.
So at the crank,
it's like 450 on motor.
Jeez.
It is, like I said,
I had no idea.
I'm blown away that this isn't like a more, I don't know, talked about car, because I know it's a big overhead cam engine. It's a big displacement motor, so it's technically not super impressive. But when you think about it, it's the year 2000, and it's making this on motor.
The reason why it's not talked about, it's got to be known.
Yeah, that didn't help that they only made 300 of these.
It's got to be known.
This is a very numbered car. They made them for 1 year only, the year 2000, and like I said, they only made 300.
So we didn't get a chance to get into the guts and the nuts and bolts of this car when this car was first introduced to us. So Tim, we first talked about this car briefly at the preview of the Illinois Motors Cars and Coffee, and I felt like, okay, I think the wing is the wing that made me feel like I've seen one before, but I couldn't pinpoint when I saw one, right? But then I saw another one. And that part, the part that baffles me, again, the other one that I saw, and of course he said, this one has a very unique, well, hold up, let's back up. This one here, although not for sale, the number would have to be something ridiculous before it could be even considered. The one I saw this weekend was tucked away, not for sale, hidden away from the world and sunlight.
That's unfortunately where like 90% of these are. They're not to be seen, really unheard of, probably delivery miles on them.
Yep.
And I have seen some that were used as their intended purpose. There was one fully tracked out one that was on Bring a Trailer. It had like 20,000 miles. I'm like, 20,000 miles and this is like 100,000 miles.
Yeah, that's a driven car.
Like,
very driven.
not mechanically, but in the scale of the mileage on these things. Yeah, so, but I'm so passionate about these because of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2.
Yeah.
That game is the game that got me into cars. It's the reason the Mercy is the GOAT for me.
Yeah.
It's on the cover, and everybody knows that a Murcielago would totally outrun a Ferrari 360 if being chased by cops.
Right.
Just saying. I know it's product placement, but you know, that's where I got a crazy love for cars was,
Yeah.
you know, that game. This, it's just etched into my brain, you know, County L Patrol,
Yeah.
high speed pursuit, vehicle is a red Mustang
Yes.
SVT Cobra
Yes.
R.
Oh my God, yes.
It's just, and then having the SVT Cobra R
the-
cop cars in that game. It's just like,
Oh my God.
it's a really, it's just surreal to see this here and be near it because I know that it will take me several years to be near another one again.
I saw two in a very short, what I would consider a very short period of time.
But both in the exact kind of environments that they
Yes.
typically are, just being
Tucked away.
tucked away. And to be fair, the owner of this car has driven it a bit. So fair play to him, he's not just sitting on it.
Okay, so how
he
many
has
miles
taken
is
it
on
to
it?
some shows. He did buy it with low miles, really low miles. It's got 580 miles. Yeah, that part.
That part.
All right.
Please
This
note,
is-
guys, this is not advertised. You said it already. It's not advertised.
If you're serious, and you're really serious, then
gotta
you can
come
call
here
the
and see
store.
the car.
And definitely come here.
It's not on the website. You gotta come see the car.
Should we go over the exterior?
Yes.
All right, so we'll talk about one of the major changes in the front is this gigantic chin splitter. And with these adjustments here, you can actually manually adjust or remove this splitter.
Wow.
And also with the hood, as you could hear, is it kind of closed, kind of heavy? It's because it's heavy.
Yeah.
This is actually non-functional. You'd be a little bit disappointed to find that out, but this is because they needed space for that manifold,
Yeah.
that Cobra Jet manifold.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got the 5-spoke Cobra R wheels, Brembo brakes. One of the most iconic features of this car, before getting to the most iconic features, side pipes.
Yep.
That's a cool feature in itself. I mean, where do you see side pipes in anything other than a Viper nowadays?
Right. Especially on a Mustang.
Yeah.
This is it.
It's just cool to have them there.
Yeah.
And
And factory.
so,
Not someone doing it. This is factory.
right. So before we get to the big part, I wanted to bring up something interesting about the side pipes. This bumper, if you're in a rare incident where you're in a collision with another motorist, someone hits your bumper in a Cobra R, fear not. It's not a bespoke piece of the car. So when Ford was building this, you know, there's some parts that are obviously used from a normal Mustang. When they were putting the bumpers on, they noticed they had those exhaust cuts for where the GT exhaust mufflers hang out the back. But when they were doing the side pipes, it just looks dumb having these like kind of holes here, these cutouts. So they went into their own catalog and pulled out a V6 Mustang bumper. So this is a V6 Mustang bumper. So just know if you're ever behind one of these in traffic and it's got everything, a big wing, it's got everything going, but it has those little cutlets, it's not real.
It's not real.
They have to have a V6 bumper on the back.
Oh my God.
And then finally, we obviously have to get to the wing because this is the coolest thing about the car. It's really controversial. Some people say it's ugly sin, it doesn't flow with the car at all. I think it's the best part of the car. It's the most iconic part of the car. It's the thing that you pay the most attention to when you're playing racing video games growing up because you're looking at the back of the car.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it stands
It's
out
just,
so-
dude,
so
it's just
prominent.
so cool. And it's crazy because to everyone else on the road, especially for this Corvette,
Yeah.
people are going to look at this and they're going to look at that and they're going to
Go
say,
back to this.
they're going to say, oh, it's just a Mustang with a wing on it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a Corvette with some stripes on it.
Yeah.
Big fucking deal.
Yeah.
But what's cool is it's like the if you know, you know club for both of these cars. Yeah.
You know. That's
Yeah.
the key, man. If you know, you know. And I think a lot of people miss out on that factor
Yeah.
because they don't know. It's like, for example, I got to go back to the Sanctuary garage at Iron Gate. And it's a if you know, you know scenario. And I'm walking through and I see a spiker
Yeah, Spiker
I
C8.
was like, and the rest of the guys are like, hey, what's this? What kind of car is this? It's a kit car? I'm like, bro, this is a Spiker. Like, this is a Spiker. You know.
Missy Elliott had one. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
And Ed Bullion bought it.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Those are just insanely cool cars in themselves.
If you know, you
but
know.
but if you know cars are the coolest cars when you're a car guy.
We are.
This to me is the ultimate, in my mind, this is the ultimate if you know American muscle car from the modern era.
Yeah.
It's so cool because in 45-degree temperatures with old style tires in 2000 when Motor Week was testing this, they clocked a 5.4 seconds 0 to 60. And that doesn't sound very fast.
That is fast.
But here's the thing, it was blowing the fucking tires off.
Yeah, that was
So
back
with
then.
modern tires and a good launch, this is like a mid to low 4 seconds 0 to 60 car. That's just insane. Because it's on motor. It's just motor only for this. Like in 2000, it's unbelievable. It's really, really crazy.
Torque monster.
It's crazy.
Torque monster.
Yeah.
Up and go.
And just like the Corvette, it's not admittedly that special inside, except for this crazy bespoke Recaro seat for the Cobra R. One advantage of this is it's a 6-speed transmission. I believe it's actually the exact same transmission as the Z06, which is a, why am I drawing a blank here? It's probably one of the best, T56 Magnum. I'm pretty sure they both have a T56, which is arguably the greatest manual transmission of all time. So.
And when you say like absolutely the seats are everything you need.
And it smells like the year 2000
Literally.
in there. It's crazy.
Literally smells like 2000 in here.
Yeah, no radio,
Yeah, it's a driver's car.
AC,
Driver's
that's,
focus.
yeah.
Look, AC only, guys.
Rear seat delete as well. There's no seats
No
back
seat
there at
back
all.
there. No seat. It's a driver's car. Although you can, no light, but you can check out. You got a little dude, very, very just simple. It's driver focused. Driver, you don't have time to be playing with the radio when you're driving.
Yeah.
Now let me hear the exhaust.
Yeah.
Although Corvette gives you all the creature comforts. It's one of the cars, man, that people miss out on. They give you all the creature comforts with the performance. You get everything with that car.
Yeah.
But this is a track, and this is a track beast. A track beast. We talked about this before, and I believe that this is, the grandfather of the Ford GT350.
Yeah, 100% it is. Because interesting enough, there are 2 generations of Cobra R before this. There was the Fox Body Cobra R, which is the rarest of the bunch. There's the SN95 Cobra R, which we actually had. We didn't have one in here, but we had one with like the exact same bodywork on it.
I don't know that one.
It's literally just like the same recipe as the Fox Body, just a Windsor motor in it basically, and a 5-speed manual. This is the one that takes it there because it goes further than the rest. And that's why I think this is the most important Cobra R, because it's the one that really did take it there.
Yeah.
For me, it's this GT350R, GTD.
Yeah.
That's kind of the lineage of extremities here. So I want to bring up this one thing again. Price. In 2000.
Oh my God. Here we go. So we know that this one was advertised.
Started base price was
Base price
50,000 estimated.
Tested was 56.
56.7.
56.7.
This, so here's the deal. I don't know what these were going for over sticker.
Okay.
Every single one was spoken for when they were new, all 300. So the MSRP was advertised at $54,995
Really?
for a Mustang. It's crazy.
Back then.
Back then. That was probably equivalent to like an $80,000 Mustang back then. That's tall.
Pretty close to the current, a brand new
Yeah.
350R.
Yeah. Well, when they still made them.
When they still made them.
Yeah, because they're done. So, pros, they're both awesome. They're both very cool. They're both kind of a glimpse into the past of what American track cars used to be. Simplicity, lightness, really some strong focuses here. I think obviously this is more tailored to street use. Yeah. And it's faster on a track, I think, in most scenarios. Funny enough, it's faster on a track than the Cobra R.
Well, I mean,
it's lighter, for sure.
Lighter.
It's lighter. It makes...
But Corvette never really made a straight line car. Their focus primarily was track.
Yeah.
So
and this is converting a muscle car to a sports car,
Correct.
You know, and
yes.
This is a true sports car. It's hard to say, you know.
I was going to ask that question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
pure driver, not just bespoke. You know, bespoke just takes it to the next level, right? That's going to have a dollar figure that's going to be just ridiculous in the next 10 if it still
So remember how I mentioned our asking price for the 7,000
Yeah.
miles commemorative edition Z06?
Yeah.
42.8, pretty good deal. Yeah. I think for the miles it's a really great deal.
No, I think so too.
Because I don't think the floor is far off if anything were to happen in the market.
I think
and not only that, the potential to upscale it is even greater.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's what you're getting. I mean, this car is a lot of car for that amount of money, even today.
Yeah.
It is very impressive. It's going to give you a full driver's experience. Not only that, but people are going to still turn their head when you ride by, bro.
Yeah, they look great. They look good on the road. They hold the road well. Pop-ups is a plus, you know. For a lot of people, it's still it's a cool thing. Another thing that needs to be mentioned is what those are going for now, because like I told you, what this is going for now. These.
But we talking driver.
But remember, what they were going for then and what they're going for now.
Difference. That is a difference.
These are going for 100. Like, I want to say I've seen a driver example, and this was like half a year ago, so I don't know if it's sold by then. Anything with miles, which is crazy, which is considered over 1,000 miles, anything with some good miles on them is 90 grand now. And anything like this, if I had to guess, comparables on a market would probably be closer to 140 or 150 grand. That's a lot of money. I'm not going to pretend that that's not a lot of money.
That's a lot of money for that car, bro.
Yeah.
But you're also looking at what, 1 of 300?
1 of 300 is very numbered. I believe these are, I think they only made 300 of these too, funny enough.
Oh, did really?
I think so.
I have to do the research and put it up there.
Yeah, I'll confirm it in 2.5 seconds. Okay, time's up, but hang on. How many commemorative C5 Z06 made? No, I was very off. 2,659.
Not too.
There's more. There's more of those.
So
for
you
sure.
can go to Carlisle. I was able to see a nice bit of these.
Yeah.
You know, you see the blue stripes. You see the blue with the stripes, right? So there's a nice bit of these that I saw at Carlisle. So I'm not too surprised from that perspective.
So,
but you go back to Carlisle to the Mustang event, you might see two.
Yeah, they are the most gate-kept Mustang in the world. I genuinely believe that.
And it's being trailered. I promise you they're not going to drive it there.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, absolutely sucks.
You got to let that insane 5.4 liter, 4-valve, 4-cam, Cobra jet motor breathe.
Let's not get it wrong. They trailered it to the trailer area. Then they drove it to the gate.
Yeah, but come on, you got to let it breathe. That sucks.
It does suck.
That's like I'm sorry, but that's like taking a fucking Uber to the end of a marathon and then walking the last 500 feet.
It's sprinting across the sprint.
Oh, I did it.
I did.
Look at me.
No, and I agree with you, especially from my Carlisle experience. There was a lot of driver's roads in the hills.
Yeah.
Go back there and just let that thing eat up some corners. How awesome would that be to be?
It'd be insane. It would be insane.
And just eat up some corners.
Yeah. Newer tires, it would be insane.
Newer tires, of course.
Yeah.
Definitely don't want to slide off. 2-lane roads, right?
Right.
It was a great time. And I saw this guy carving it up.
Yep. That's what they do. They handle excellent. It's unbelievable how well they corner. It's impressive how well they ride, how well they corner, how well they drive. It really was a next level for Corvette with this car. And it's a shame we never got a ZR1 out of the C5. I think it would have been crazy.
That was the skip, but I think that you got to think about what was happening then during that time frame, right?
Yeah.
There was the big transition from the, in my opinion, this was a big jump from coming from the C4, right? They just got past the big emissions dump where the cars just were slow.
They're
as all
finally
get out.
breathing. They're finally
getting the cars
breathing.
to breathe, and they were able to get them out and do some fun things. So even through the mid-generation of the Z06, they were able to pull another car. And if you think about it, technically, this really should be their ZR1, right?
Yeah.
But they created this car. They still created this car with the Z06 badge, and it was more than what the others were within the same generation. To me, that was a big jump for GM.
Yeah.
Still,
The fact that the
minus
Z06, the fact that the Z06 trim punched the C4 ZR1 in the face.
big time.
Yeah, like big time.
Big time. Not only that, but if you really look at the C4, most of those C4s, when they came out, they looked like SUVs. They were so tall.
Yeah, they're pretty tall, yeah.
This thing set as low as the Ferrari.
And it's just
all
super
those other-
modern, it's clean, it's curvy, it's,
yes.
yeah.
It was very period correct from the stance and the way it looked and the way it performed against its true predecessors, which really wasn't very many American made. It was 2 other American mades that this thing had to play with, or had a chance to play with, or compete against, and it held its own.
Yeah.
It held its own.
Yep, you bet.
Yeah, this
So given everything,
everything, or just drive?
price, we're talking price, everything, which one are you taking?
That guy.
Which one?
That guy.
The
I'm
Cobra?
taking the Cobra. Because I think I would still want to drive it. And I probably would drive it.
Yeah.
And I would be the guy that they were looking at me, the purists would be like, what are you doing, bro?
But I feel like you could drive one and put miles on it and still end up with an $80,000 Mustang.
Still.
So you could probably start at like a $90,000 example.
I can
you know?
take this car, drive it and enjoy it until I am sick of it, sell it, and buy 2 of those.
Yeah. Yeah. Logic is fucking screaming at me.
Absolutely bananas.
Logic is screaming at me for this car. It's amazing. It's especially for the money. I think this might be one of the better cars you can buy, especially for like an investment buy.
Well, still an
Like-
investment buy. It's still a good car to buy.
And here's the thing too. Here, let's be honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
Parts.
Okay.
This thing, you're gonna get it all day. Parts are endlessly available. I know this is a Mustang, but this is
It's bespoke.
there's a lot of bespokeness going on here. A lot.
Very good point.
Except,
That 5.7, you get parts for that 5.7 all day long.
yeah. You could probably still buy an alternator at like O'Reilly's or some shit.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
So,
I mean, honestly, to get parts for this,
yeah.
you can't even, there's no one that's making parts for this car.
You know what's interesting?
Factory parts.
Yeah.
You find some aftermarket stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the better car. In every single measure, from price to performance for the dollar, to parts availability, this is the better car. It's the better car. I'd have this car. I'd have this car. This is the better car.
This one right here,
Yeah.
This one makes way more sense
Yeah.
across the board.
I'd have this car. Dude, it's like the Countach of muscle cars. This fucking thing's crazy. Look at the wing.
How do you
I don't know.
say no?
I can't. I couldn't.
I would put, listen.
If I had the budget to get a driver,
put my music on that way, and
yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah. So if we're really, it's crazy because a driver example is still double the money of this car.
Yes.
You're getting all the performance and then some, probably more performance, better everything. This is the car to drive and use.
Yes. This one?
This is still on
This is the one you show up in.
This is like unobtainium.
Very entertaining.
Yeah.
And you show up in it. If you have it and you're
Yeah.
bringing it out, you show up in it.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean you drive it.
Yeah. I'm so fascinated by it. It's just so different.
It's so different,
It's
bro.
crazy.
is
C5s are everywhere because
Yes.
they're built well,
Yes.
and that's not just including Z06s. The base cars are everywhere. They're everywhere.
They still exist, and they're still on the road for a reason. Because
Yeah.
they drive well and they're built well.
Yeah, and this to me is like, this is like you're shaking hands with Tom Brady or something, dude. It's crazy.
For
Like,
real. No.
it's so cool.
For real. No,
Yeah.
That's a very, very interesting analogy.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right, because that's not going to happen just, like I said before, on a it's just a random Tuesday. No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You might be lucky enough to see Tom Brady over there and be like, hey, that's...
The difference is if I saw this on a road, I'd be like, oh, sweet, C5 Z06. I would flip
Man, I would
shit
lose it.
if I saw this.
I would lose it.
I would, no way.
It's like I would have to go and chase after this guy and figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Regardless of your choice, like I said, I don't think either one is like, I think they're both totally respectable, even at the prices they've either ballooned to, depreciated to, whatever the context is. They're both incredibly respectable. They were both a part of a brand new era of track day specials for American performance cars. This is the answer to, oh, Americans can't make cars that turn.
Literally.
Well, here are two phenomenal examples that were just doing this all the way.
And they did it. They did it so well with this car.
Yeah.
When they brought this out, it completely changed the game at what Corvette can do with a track car.
And a spoiler alert for that Motor Week video.
Yeah.
This, like I said, or like you said, that ACR was the J. Cole, backed out of the beef, right? But the Cobra R came in second place. This was by far the winner because of price, availability, power, performance. This is the package.
Really
Don't get
is,
me
man.
wrong, it's the package.
It really is.
And even though we're standing next to what is considerably like a unicorn,
God, unicorn, bro, for real. Like,
this is still...
rainbow unicorn, like something even rare.
Yeah, but you know, I have to respect this car still, the C5 Z06, because at the end of the day, they're both not average performance.
Not by any means, guys. And when I tell you, although we don't have the ACR here to have its own voice, there's nothing by far that would make, both of these cars are going to turn heads. I say it over and over again. This makes all the sense in the world to have. Own, enjoy, and drive. You have to have this. I'll take it at least for a season. Let me just enjoy it and then let it go to wherever it's going to go. We all know we're never the last owners. It'd be nice to have this sucker for a season, and I'll still be able to come back and get this guy and have some change in my pocket like you would not believe. For real. Come on, man. Not one of these cars, as Tim said, not one of them are average, man. And man, you can come here and get this thing right now, right here at Illinois Motors, bro, because they do not do the normal around here, guys.
And if you end up hitting the Powerball,
Come on.
maybe send us an offer for this car. It's still not for
It's an
sale,
option.
but it might be if you give us a call. So you never know.
You in that Powerball, holler at your boy. I'm just saying, man. Make sure you tell him I sent you. Just saying, man. Listen. Come on, man. Y'all know how we do around here, man. We were designed from greatness, guys. Because you was designed from greatness, guys, you have the right and responsibility and authority to never, ever, ever be average to guys. Don't be average.